the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello, hello, hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, three boys talking about movies and how it made us feel. I am Patrick Baskwell, and I hate doing locations.
Hello, I am John Gilardi, and I didn't prepare a quirky intro.
Oh, sorry, bud.
And I am Christian Ames, and I put out my cigarette on the ground, and I say, where the fuck is the sound team?
Jesus. Oh, man. Yeah, so what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to be sharing ourselves with you more than we have yet. We're going to be talking about film school and shorts that we've made and, like, our experience on set. So,
Our journeys as creators, I guess, too. We can
Yeah.
start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know, kind of little backgrounds. Everyone likes an origin story, right?
Yeah. They're the most common story ever.
Yeah?
I would
How
say.
we,
wants
how
to
we
go
got into
first?
this artist lifestyle.
How did you begin?
The lifestyle, as we call it.
Yeah, that's what
I
we
think
in the biz, we all call it the lifestyle.
That's a good way to start. Let's talk about how we got into this ridiculous field of being creators. How did we do it?
Who's going first? I'll go first.
Okay.
First, I started doing theater when I was like 9. Like I would say that's probably my first foray into being a creative artiste. And like my first role, I was a wizard. I was the mayor of Munchkin City in the county of the Land of Oz, in the play Wizard of Oz. And very excited. I had lines, and I remember looking out into the audience and seeing all the people and seeing all the lights, and then weeping. Just seeing all the people there really just terrified me. So I don't know if that's the proper origin story for a person who loves and wants the limelight and attention all the time. But
When I read that in your notes, I read it as like this glorious, like triumphant moment of like you just looked out to the crowd and you felt the power and the beauty of performing, and it was like this wonderful moment. That's how I read it in your notes. But
no.
But you were weeping out of fear.
No, it was terror. It was terror. It was like I prepared and I had all these things, and then oh my gosh, I'm in costume and I'm looking at my friend who's playing Dorothy, and I play Little League with her brother, and then I look and I go to say my line and the music is playing and I'm like, the mayor of the Munchkin, and she had to like whisper it in the county of the Land of Oz. And I forgot so much stuff. There's also, and this probably is more telling, there's like a video of that same like production. I was like 9. It's famous in my household, and I'm just like an extra essentially, but I'm mouthing everybody's lines, and I'm like in the front of the stage, and I'm just mouthing everybody's lines. That's it. I'm a 9-year-old kid saying everybody's lines, and I think that's true to this day.
That's because
You're
you should have
geek
been
early
the
on.
lead.
Yeah.
You should have been the lead from the start.
Yeah. Give me all the lines. Let me do the whole show by myself.
Yeah.
go to move to New York City and just do your one-man shows.
Dick
Nanigans.
Nanigans. Dickerofficy. The story of dicks.
I had a pretty similar start. I started making home videos with my brother. I just discovered my parents' video camera and forced my brother to act in stupid home videos. And then once I got into middle school, I remember we had Egypt night. You remember that, John? In middle school, there was Egypt
Vaguely.
night.
Wait, what?
And we had this night based around like Egyptian history and all this stuff. And these other kids made this really funny video. It was 6th grade, and I remember watching this video they made, and it was so funny. It was just so funny. It was like a little Egyptian like skit about like ISIS and Osiris. Not ISIS, the terrorist group.
No.
Like
the river goddess. The river goddess.
Yeah, a
The river
bunch of
goddess
6th
ISIS.
graders like, Allah Akbar.
Oh my God.
Osiris and Isis. And it was so funny. And I slowly became friends with those guys, and they turned out to be the theater geeks, and they did like musical theater and stuff, and they convinced me to do it. So my first experience on stage was much different than Patrick's. I was in 10th grade, and it was awesome. Like, I never had that fear because I had these kids that I essentially grew up with and felt really comfortable with. So I never had that fear. I also wasn't 9 years old and by myself mouthing everybody else's lines. I wish I got that experience, but I didn't. I was lucky enough to be surrounded by my peers who just encouraged me to get on stage with them. And I think that was like the moment that when I remember the first time hearing people laugh at a line I delivered, and that rush
That's cocaine.
was like nothing else. And I think that was the moment that I was like, this is cool. And that, I mean, from there, I just kind of decided to be a film fucker.
Hell yeah.
Is that how you identify your career path?
Yes, I'm not, to be clear, I'm not a pornographic actor. I just went down the road of being an entertainer. I don't fuck on film. I'm just a film person.
Nah, he fucks
now,
films.
Now I'm a musical person, but you know, the point being, that was my stepping stone.
All right. For myself, I'm a more reserved person, shy, historically introvert. So I was never like on stage or even in front of camera. That was a big deal, like for me, even with the YouTube channel we do. But I always had like a kind of a creative side, but it was never fully expressed. And it's confused. It's hard because like my family is one of creatives, you know, designers and artists. We all have a super kind of technical side to it too. You know, like designing and like architecture or I don't know, art and business, just balancing kind of left and right brain. So I never like fully jumped into things. I always liked creating, but I liked something technical along with it. So eventually when this YouTube channel we kind of grew together happened, it kind of was the perfect platform for me to do that. But I mean, I always drew. I always would make believe and make stories. You know, I liked creating stories.
Legos.
In terms of Legos. But I never was on camera, or I never got a camcorder and recorded things with my brother, or when he plays or edit anything until I started doing gameplay videos. I would record gameplay of Call of Duty and Battlefield and edit those. And that was my introduction into kind of actually creating things for myself instead of jumping on. Because I would do stuff with Christian or some other friends on our street. But that was kind of the first thing, was using I guess computers, you know, that multimedia mixed kind of thing, just kind of combining those two aspects of technology and art, and kind of started me on the path and led me here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'll never forget the first video on our YouTube channel where you actually showed your face.
Oh yeah, I think it's still
and
there.
It was just so brief and it was so cute. And
And
people
I
loved
speak.
it.
I'm so timid.
I think you just said hi and waved.
I said, hi, I appreciate you guys liking the videos and everything. And then I cut out, and it's like I teleported out.
Yeah, we did a jump cut so it looked like you disappeared. And then I was
it.
like, whoa, where'd he go? And look at you now, dude. You're like Will Smith.
I know, dude. You're the one who closes out the YouTube videos, or you used to. I don't know what you guys with the whatever it's called.
And our CTAs.
The CTA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We try to alternate it, but at this point, it's whoever's in the office.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
does it. But yeah, I'd say for myself, I've come a long way just being in any of the music videos we've produced with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say too, is like as an actor, as a performer as well, you've progressed. Not that that's something you're like, man, I really hope that one day I get my chance to be in the thing, but it's like, you know, you've definitely, I mean, and there's just the comfortability with it where, you know, the more times you're in front of a camera or the more times you're you like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing is we are always working with the same crew, so that's very helpful, and we're used to everyone, or at least I am. That's a big deal for me, is to be used to everyone and comfortable. So
Yeah.
It's a I don't know, maybe if you throw me a whole other crew, I would just be timid and holding back, you know.
Or
So-
maybe
Well,
you'd
dude,
be even freer.
that's where Patrick gets props too. Like when we made our Fortnite music video, we had a buddy, Nick Fable, another nerdcore rapper, shout out,
My
who had
man.
never been in a live action music video before. He couldn't give enough praise to Patrick for his direction, to just helping him be present on camera and delivering a performance. I never really realized that until film school, how important directing is. In terms of getting an actor to actually deliver their performance. So that equally goes out to Patrick too.
Indeed, props.
Thank you so much. And also, I just want to throw props now to Christian, just because we're throwing props all around. Just such a
doing it.
It's like this
It's
is
a nice, good old circle jerk. It's awesome.
But yeah, Christian, you know, you give a lot of face. You have a lot to work with. But kind of doubling back around to like not knowing what a director does, but it's like that's like I don't know. I remember I didn't, as a person who was like I want to be an actor or like acting. It's like I didn't really understand what a director did. Like I was like, I don't give it. Why do I care about Steven Spielberg? I love Sam Neill. I love Jeff Goldblum. And so it's just like learning those little ins and outs of things. So what was kind of your first foray into film, Christian or John, whoever wants to take this?
I mean, I guess I can start off because in terms of like grabbing a camera and going, you know, it was just kind of guerrilla style with friends, and like the most kind of stuff that wasn't super janky was music videos for our YouTube channel and music videos like that. And then in terms of being on a real set, I hadn't done that until I jumped into college and went to film school. So that's my first experience. But we did these music videos where we go around town, we'd have ideas. You know, a lot of the lines are very like kind of slapstick humor references. We'd go and shoot the reference of doing whatever is the lyric, and then we pretty much when we would initially shoot these music videos, like White Guys Can Rap Too. Every single
you got to give a
line-
plug to that. You got to give a
Yeah.
direct plug. Explain what that is.
It's a song Christian made about how white guys can rap too, and we made a second one where we worked on it together, and it's White Guys Can Rap TWO too.
Oh, it's
but
so
like-
cringy.
Yeah, like you're like crypt walking or something on the roof of a hotel.
Oh,
and
it's so cringy. But
We,
it's
all
a
got
starting
that.
point. Don't be afraid to be cringe. That's my message.
That's a
Anyway,
pretty
sorry.
good
Continue.
the
John.
fact that we're putting ourselves out there creating, that's like one of the things that discourages me the most about this whole cringe thing, especially towards younger people or people who haven't put themselves out there as much and are super self-conscious or timid.
Amen, dude.
That's what I hate about that cringe stuff, because it stifles creativity and it's just so toxic, and it's coming from people who are also timid, who are not putting themselves out there. So it's just like,
It's a feedback
what are we
loop.
doing here? Yeah, so I don't know. Just like we should, you know, especially younger people, like we should celebrate that, and they should just keep at it. You know, they're going to look back and cringe at themselves, and that's good. That's healthy. And it means they grew. It means they were able to mature.
I mean, you have to
Dude,
be able to
I love
practice.
that healthy cringe,
Yeah.
because I look back at stuff I've made a year ago. Even now, I'm 29, I'm almost 30, still a long ways off from 30, but I still look back at stuff I made a year ago and have like a healthy level of cringe, like, oh, I shouldn't have done this, or I should have changed that in the mix or this lyric. But that's just, you could be the greatest artist on the fucking planet. You're still gonna look back at your old self and be like, I could have changed this, could have changed that.
But
That's I like that.
There's something else in there too that's important, where it's like you need to put stuff out there.
Yeah.
That's in order to get feedback, because that's one of the biggest things for me. Is like I studied at Second City, and like you have to turn in a sketch, you have to turn in a script, you have to send a video in order to get feedback on it, and for you to even like let go of it to realize that, hey, this is kind of shitty and tone deaf. There's like some fun bits in it, and like you can cannibalize those for whatever you want, but it's like you have to put a thing out there in order for it to be said that it's shitty. And that's kind of one of my big gripes with like some of the student films that I've been in that even I've produced. It's like eventually they just gotta get out there, and I can't tell you the amount of productions that I've been in where I haven't never seen a finished product, where it's like, well, I just spent 2 days hanging out with you guys and shooting this thing, and then you guys aren't even going to edit it because what?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole can of worms when we jump into the film school conversation in earnest, but I was the only one to answer. So what is your guys' first kind of set experience or
first
kind of
film
that
or whatever?
Well, I guess to go back,
video
Patrick said
footage
first
experience?
foray into film. I think going back to like my theater geek buddies, those were the guys that I didn't even like try to join their friend group. I was lucky enough to find my way into this friend group, and then these same theater geeks made a bunch of like skits and stupid sketches on their own, like video, like with our Mac computers with iMovie. I just kind of found my way into this friend group and just started making these stupid music videos and sketches, and that was how I got into the love for filmmaking.
Oh hell yeah! I mean,
Theater geeks.
theater geeks rule the world.
It's not nerds, it's theater geeks.
Yeah, just theater
that rule
geeks.
the world.
I would say, well, my first film that I made was so there was like a series of video projects in high school that we had to like create a retelling of the play Hamlet or some, I don't remember what the thing was. So I like combined Hamlet and Wizard of Oz, and I like combined them into a thing. I don't really remember, but I played a lot of the parts. Like I played Hamlet, I played the mom, I played Laertes. Ophelia was an apple that I bit and threw in a pool. And I had like this whole series of things where I would chug a Monster Energy drink and then rip my shirt off. It was just a thing that I did, and I did that in all three. Like one was
Original Kyle.
yeah. I don't know. It was fun for me, but I played all the parts because nobody would show up and nobody understood what I was doing.
Dude, are you saying that your first experience with being on film was Shakespeare?
Well, it was a Shakespeare that I wrote to be combined with Wizard of Oz.
Dude, I love that. That is fucking awesome. But that same group of theater geeks that I was talking about, my first like skit video that I did with them was a school project on Shakespeare. I think it was Othello. But that's just funny. That's a weird coincidence.
Yeah, I bet you it was like
I got a story of something I did with friends. So this was, I guess, a production I was doing in my freshman year of high school with some friends, including a good mutual friend that Christian and I have, Joey, and we were kind of like the good group of students. I guess the teacher really liked me and my friends, and she was like, and she knew that we were like really interested in World War II history because Band of Brothers was big at the time. And she's like, you know what? My extended family member, he was a B-52 bomber. He did like over 25 raids over Germany, and like
Damn,
he's a
dude.
vet. And he has a lot of cool stories. You guys should interview him and make a little documentary, because the project, I don't know what the project was, but that would have done the trick. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And so we hang out with this guy, this badass veteran, and we interview him. He's telling us these crazy war stories, and so we got all that footage, and then we go back to the friend's house to film the stuff that kind of fills in and connects and makes the narrative. I don't really remember much, but we were just kind of kids goofing off. Like at that point, we're just friends hanging out, so we were just filming whatever, kind of doing goofy things, and then like the final product when it's edited together just came across as super disingenuous and just like mocking the veteran, and it was just like the worst outcome possible. And the teacher was just sitting there. She was just dead inside and like ghost faced. She didn't like scold us or anything or give us a really bad grade, but you could tell
She's
like,
just disappointed. She's like, wow.
She's
just
so
like,
she like threw us this like awesome opportunity and expected these students who are great guys, I guess, to do something great with it, and we didn't.
that's, I mean,
that's something I look back on, and that's a very regretful cringe, I guess.
Oh
What do you
yeah,
expect,
it's
though? Like-
terrible. It's terrible, but like I mean,
It wasn't. We didn't like set out to mock him.
Yeah.
It was like, again, it was just us hanging out at the house, and we were detached from that interview. Like, oh, we're filming, we're having fun.
Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah.
stupid shit. So it's just it's just the way it turned out. But God, it's bad.
Yeah.
Oof.
Dude, especially picturing like the people you're talking about are like they were like the nice like grade A student, like teacher's pet type of kids, just picturing
like John.
picturing all of you guys doing something so like so heartless.
You're just sitting on this World War II. Like, basically, you guys are trying to, like, recap his, like, awesome adventures, but it sounds disingenuous, so you're just like, wow, I guess I flew some missions. I was pretty cool. Huh. And you're just...
Oh,
Yeah, it's a.
but hey,
dark
that's
time.
part of being a kid.
John's like, it haunts me to this day. Thanks for making light of it, guys.
Yeah.
But I guess film school. So we start these productions, and we kind of find a love for it. And you know what? We all want to be Steven Spielberg. We want to make crazy movies. We want to make the next Star Wars and Lord of the Rings combined. You know, we want Tom Hanks to star in our movies. So we go to film school. That's what we do. That's the next step to become doing that.
Well, I kind of took a circuitous route to doing stuff.
Yeah,
but,
let's hear your route.
Yeah.
Well, so I went to college to study. It's like I kind of pulled a reverse Christian, where it's like I went to college to study music and music production and like songwriting in Nashville, and I was not ready to go to college. I was immature, and I had way too much fun in Nashville. So I came back and then studied and essentially just started working as an actor and on various like film projects, doing theater and like working on set, doing PA stuff and auditioning for the Vampire Diaries 4 different times and Turn, Washington Spies. But
I love that show.
yeah, they tried to cast me as a 32-year-old. Well, they didn't try to cast me. My agent at the time tried to have me audition for a 32-year-old like British tavern guy, and I was like, I'm a 21-year-old American boy.
Baby boy.
I'm a boy. But it was funny. One of the things that even as I was like kind of spiraling into a deep depression in Nashville, as I was like away from my family and in over my head, one of the things that I did, not to get like too real, but one of the things that I did is I would watch like a movie a day, and I kept a journal of all the movies that I watched that year. I don't know why that was the year I decided, but I started January 1st with Sherlock Holmes, and I kept track of all the movies that I watched that year, and I think I watched a movie a day, if not two, for that time. And I think that's like when I was like, I really like this. I like what this is. I like telling stories, and like that's one of the things that drove me to like I'm gonna study film at CFCC, and then just eventually, with living in Wilmington, I just was like, I'm just gonna do film stuff.
Wow. So are you talking about like acting wise or like just anything you liked in the films that you were watching?
I mean, I was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to be involved in this industry. I mean, you know, I wanted to be an actor or writer or something, but I was just like, I just want to do that. I want to do something there that feels like something that I can comprehend, and that's something that I like doing. So I just like did that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
I never really knew your story. I don't know. I never thought to ask.
It's okay.
That's the first time genuinely hearing that.
We're
So
learning
that's
it
cool.
here. We're
Here we
learning
are.
it
Yeah,
live.
that's good. That's
In
good. That's good content right there, boys.
Yeah.
Honesty.
Dude, and it shows in the way you direct. It really does. But I'll stop. No more dick sucking.
Don't
no more
fucking
dick
do that.
sucking.
Stop sucking
my
my
dick
dick,
is
dude.
so slobbery. Get off of it, Christian.
I'll chain you up.
Sorry, guys.
I'll jump in with my film school stuff. So I applied to a bunch of schools. I got into UNCW, which had a pretty good film school, and it was located in North Carolina. Really good tuition. It's on the beach. A really really good value to tuition. Also, that's just for anyone out there. North Carolina has like the best value for schools, and so many schools. And
Their college
place to
education
live.
system is pretty tight.
yeah. So I got in there, and I got into App State, another North Carolina school, but they were broadcasting, and I wanted something more creative. I also applied to Ithaca and SCAD, got into both, but private schools very far away.
Mhm.
I didn't want to do that. I would have gone to Ithaca if I got into the park school specifically. I got waitlisted a year because that's where Christian went, but decided not to do that. And then so I went to film school, and it's a pretty competitive thing because it's flashy. You know, you're making movies, and you're at the beach. So the program had a pretty like 2 levels of weeding people out. So that was kind of a hard thing. And the program there balanced film theory and production. We don't actually do any film production really until the second bottleneck or whatever. But it was fun, and getting into the program was super satisfying. It was I guess one of those, if you ever, you work hard for something and it works out, and you get to kind of reap the benefits of that. That was one of those good moments of satisfaction. But yeah, so I went to UNCW, graduated in 4.5 years. I double majored. One of the big things my dad always told me was like, maybe it was an old school perspective, but he was a designer, so he looked at it from the very left and right brain thing. But he was like, art, a lot of people have it. Either you do it or you don't, and there's only so much you can teach of art. So if you're going to school for kind of an art thing, do something else, whatever it is, and then you can combine those things. And after I didn't listen to that, but after a while, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I need to combine this. So I started double majoring in business. So I did art and film, film and business. And so that was kind of my path and the way I came out in the other end. I guess we can dive into film school stories after this, but I think it's good that we introduce our where we went through.
Yeah. We can go through this stuff and then we'll dive in.
Preach to your dad, because those words are so true. My experience with film school, I went to Ithaca College, very good film school. But I mean, you can only teach so much. And I had some good memories in film school. I was very introverted throughout film school. I didn't apply to enough internships. I didn't put myself out there enough. But the biggest thing I took away from film school, especially Ithaca College as a private school, I just finished paying off my student loans. I'm now 29. That's pretty early compared to my peers. Thank you, YouTube, for that. But it was very expensive, and the stuff they taught you is just kind of stuff that you either have or you don't. A lot of it, like some of it is, you can be taught to refine some skills, but ultimately a lot of the stuff I learned is just stuff you inherently have or you don't. Which I know sounds bleak. Kids, go to college. It's good for you. Get an education. I'm not saying don't go to school. Get an education. It's good. But you don't have to go to a really expensive school to get that education, was my biggest takeaway from film school. I had a lot of good memories. I have some not so fond ones. And that's it.
I think I just want to bookend that because it's like, and that's one of the things that as a person who didn't go to film school and just kind of like made everything up as I went, one of the things that I probably would have benefited from would have been just learning the process of things. Like even if you're a fantastic storytelling genius and you're like, because the textbook is there, it's just movies. Just watch movies and people tell you how to do the thing. But if you see something that you like you imitate it, or you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if the camera would spin and you're like, oh, you could figure out a way to do that. But it's like knowing the process of how to like put together this, like knowing the process is the big thing, because it's like they're not going to teach you how to tell a good story. Really, they'll teach you how to put a good story in the right places and how to edit, because that's a big thing that I'm shitty at, is editing myself.
Yeah, like all the arts have their technical side, but I think film definitely has the most technical side and a science to it. Cameras and lighting, the software you need. So there is a lot of education there that needs to be taught, and that is. But sadly, I feel like a lot of it, like, I think film schools would be more effective if they were taught as a trade. Like it's a trade school.
Well, that's how CFCC does it.
Yes, which from what I've heard, it produces more and better people ready to go into the field of filmmaking than a 4-year program like UNCW does.
Well,
so
because a lot of those people want to be a stars. They're like, oh, I'm gonna be Taika Waititi, or I'm gonna be like. They already have that perception of themselves going in, and they're just looking for a vehicle to be able to like capitalize on that. Whereas like the people who go to CFCC are like, I would like to know about this thing.
Yeah, which I think was the biggest thing about my education at Ithaca, is that
putting you on blast.
They never explicitly said you're going to be the next Christopher Nolan or Steven Spielberg, but the implication was always there. They kept talking about, the alumni network we have is so extensive. You're going to be able to get so many foots in so many doors. Which was
networking.
Also, speaking from my experience, I went to film school, and the whole time I didn't give that much of a shit about my classes, whatever they were, not just my film classes, everything else. I was just working on music, working on GarageBand, eventually leveled up to Logic Pro, was teaching myself music production, and now I am proud enough to call myself a professional music producer. So I guess my biggest takeaway is, do it. You don't need the degree.
See, that's funny, because like I said, I did a reverse Christian. I was in school to do music production and music business, and I was just watching movies and writing stories.
I think the core of it is, you got to do something, and you don't realize it, but when you're in college, you have more time in the world than you'll ever will. Even counting maybe unemployment, like you have 18 hours of classes and then maybe 10 hours of homework, but that's 28 hours out of how many hours are in the week? And then, so it's like I took 21 hours every semester after my freshman year, and I still had all the time in the world. And the thing is, like, you got to do something with that time. You got to be constructive, and a lot of students in any major, any field, don't, and that's probably the biggest tragedy or biggest waste of time, is just people that don't.
They're out there, they're drinking, they're smoking pot, they're having premarital sexual relations.
Preach it, Christian.
Yeah.
Well, that's
not to say that you can't have that social life.
This is our motivational podcast.
Yeah. And that's not to say that you can't have the social life at all. I mean, I was a pretty balanced life, but I guess
John, I fucked. That's John.
Yeah.
Hey, look, guys, I fucked.
Yeah, that's a subtext right there. But I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, but so yeah, there's time. I mean, except for maybe excluding this quarantine time where everybody has a lot of time, but is also under this like incredible amount of stress and trauma, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, huge asterisk over. I mean,
yeah.
I'm ready to. I'm ready to just give up 2020.
I am yo-yoing back and forth between being incredibly productive and then like the aggressively unproductive, where it's like if I like write a thing and I'm like, you know what, this is all terrible, and I delete the whole thing. It's all stupid.
And then you find out that Boy Meets World is on Disney Plus, and you just binge that.
And
for
that time is
8
gone.
hours. Yep.
So let's talk about film school stories. Talk about some of those horror stories or dreams that we had.
Dreams you saw crushed.
Oof. Dreams you saw crushed. Never seeing the finished product. What are some of the cliches that are true of like film school?
I think what you touched on is people going in with it just being a pass through to their next big to becoming famous.
Yeah.
Was a big cliche. You had a lot of kind of pretentious dickheads, and they role played movie producer, movie director, and it's just like, dude, we're all fucking just kids here trying to figure this out. One of the things that kind of got under my skin, but I was just was just like, God, get over yourself, is when people would talk about the theses or the theses, whatever the plural of that is, as the person, as the director of that project's film, like, yeah, Billy Bob's paper thin. They're working on that. Oh yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis's emotional roller coaster ride film. Yeah, like it's just like these are all films that we cherry pick scripts from, and the teacher assigned us groups, and we just assigned our roles. Like, why are we making this about them? And it's like it was this weird kind of like core group of pretentious dickheads.
Yeah.
Who thought this was their ride, and everyone there is just part of it as an NPC, essentially, like a computer character,
Yeah.
just like as a drone. That was probably my biggest and most annoyed with archetype and the film school kind of cliche.
It's pretty funny because like on the outside looking in, as someone who was like always trying to get their own short produced and was like sort of in competition with those people. Like when I would run into them at Cucaloris, and our film would get like, it's like our films would get the same billing. It's like you just pretended like yours was more impactful than mine was, because it went to UNCW or whatever.
Yeah, I mean maybe they're not always assholes, but like that's one of my biggest lessons from film school was a producer came in, and he's like, the biggest thing you guys can do is just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
And that clearly went over a lot of people's head, and that applies to anything in life. It's like there's like a couple things. It's like giving a fuck and not being an asshole. Dropping those swears. If you remember those two things with those cusses or those curses or however you refer to those words, you should be on a pretty good track. Just kind of do it. Work hard.
Yeah.
Be nice to
Dude,
people.
I think
whatever it is.
My biggest takeaway from those said assholes at Ithaca was, at the time, I remember watching their films and being like, damn, this is really good. Also, it didn't help that they were all happened to be the really rich kids who had access to all these funds, that they could get these studios and all this fancy stuff to set up really cool stuff. And of course, their shit looked better than everybody else's.
Well, and since it's a production, they can hire professionals too. So it's kind of...
I don't know if they hired professionals.
But
they just clearly had funds mainly for sets, for better sets. Okay. But the biggest thing, looking back, again, this is totally hindsight, is that it was so intensely derivative. Like, one of them had this show. They had a show on ICTV, and it was pretty much a ripoff of The Office. Another one was a student thesis that was pretty much a ripoff of The Usual Suspects. Like, it was just... Their shit was so derivative and unoriginal, and I'd say
that's a pretty big film school cliche for sure.
That's in my notes.
And to be fair, it's really hard being creative, being an artist of any sort, whether you're musical, film, theater, whatever the fuck you're doing. It's really hard not to be derivative, but a lot of these douchebags that we're talking about, their stuff was just... So it was just like a cut and paste of other stuff, which in retrospect makes me feel better.
Yeah, but it's like that's like the first thing that you do whenever you love something is you imitate it, in order to try and find the thing that you liked about it in your body. Like I remember for me, like watching Jim Carrey or Robin Williams, and you do those same things until you get to a point where it's like, you can find your own voice within it, and it's like, you know, in defense of those pretentious douchebags, I think my problem with that is like where it's like it is redundant and it's derivative, where it's like, just do it, just do the thing to do it, and then just move on. Don't.
Yes, I agree with you, Patrick. The
that.
only thing I'd say in rebuttal to that is just their sense of entitlement and acting better than everybody else is what what annoyed me the most. Is like, oh, what you were doing after all isn't it? Because I mean, I've done tons of derivative shit. I still do, but just that sense of like looking down on everybody else when you're doing stuff that isn't even original. And there were so many other kids who were doing stuff that maybe didn't turn out great. Like there's a lot of student films over the years that people would literally laugh at screenings, but they were trying something new.
Yeah.
And looking back,
it.
I laughed at a lot of those, but I feel bad looking back because they were trying something fresh. They were doing something different. I guess, yeah, just try your best to not be derivative.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to, don't act like you're better than everyone else.
Yes.
Just try it because you think it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, do what you want to do.
Yeah. I would say there was a student film that I acted in that will remain nameless that was very confusing to me, because there was like one person who was like supposedly the director of photography, who he sort of like pitched me to get me in to play it, and he would and everyone was just there to say that they were on set. No one was doing anything. Like it was such a weird thing where there are these film students, and there was the guy who was the DP, who was also the lead actor, who was also the gaffer, and the gaffer, for those who don't know, is the person who sets the lights. It makes the lights look good for the DP, who is the director of photography, not double penetration. And so it was just this one dude who was like doing all this stuff, and everyone else is just sitting around and just like stroking their very thin chin hairs. And I was just like, why am I here? If you guys don't want to be here, why am I here? Who also does not, like, you know, that's one of the things. It's like, if everybody, that's one of the things that I miss a little bit about like that sort of vibe, is when everybody is like, yeah, this is a cool thing that I get to do. I get to play with this, and like everybody's in it and like doing it for free and just hanging out because they like the people and they like the thing. And it's like, that's one of the things that I really loved about like student films or like small indie.
It's just that bootstrap kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That, like, mentality. And everyone's also relatively in the same boat, you know, trying to figure it out together.
Yeah.
So the makings of great camaraderie are there, and it usually pans out, you know. Any like team stuff, if you don't have that like auteur or like that big-headed person, and it's just naturally going to happen, and you accomplish something together, you know. It's a, you know, films are little businesses that get built up and kind of just end, but it's like building a business together, and there's like, it's like a machine, and it's satisfying, it's creative, and there's a lot of teamwork that goes into it, so it can always go towards a nice thing. But if you have but then the balance is you just do have kids, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to figure their shit out, you know. They're immature, maybe they're lazy, or they haven't figured out their habits, or maybe they actually don't like this, or they like just the idea of it, you know. And then you have all these kind of, they're not horror stories, but just these stories of like, why am I dealing with these people?
Yeah, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You guys don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Fine.
Where's the fucking sound team? God damn it.
Oh, we're having pizza again? That's one. It's like, everyone, we're having pizza on set again. Pizza for dinner.
Dude,
and
if
when you're a kid,
if
you're
you
like,
get wings, you caught a good day.
oh shit.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the only like production I was on, like, was my thesis. Like I did smaller things, but I was like just small stuff. But was the one that I actually met Patrick.
That's how we met,
on,
baby.
but
That's
I
how we
think
crossed paths.
The art director's mom was in town or something, but she made like these big pasta dishes for everyone. So we had some pretty bougie, crafty. But that, like, so I was a sound mixer on that, which is cool. Sounds like I think it has a lower learning curve, but a higher ceiling, I guess.
Yeah.
Of skill. But because like sounds good, you if you're hearing it, then it sounds good. Like you're hearing it, it's 1-to-1. There's a lot less technology. It's pretty simple. It's pretty analog. XLR goes into one end into the mic. It should be good.
A sound maker,
but one of the things
breaks
I
it.
learned, if it breaks or there's static, there's nothing
Like
you can do
if
about
the
that.
sound is bad on a thing, it's like it's not worth it. Like with a podcast, it's like if the sound is bad, or if it's like okay. Like
Dude, and God forbid you have to do ADR.
Ugh.
ADR never looks good. Never.
I mean, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Even that's all ADR. But it's a classic. But it's not look great.
Sorry, John, cut you off.
But one of the big takeaways from that was kind of like how compartmentalized a film set is, which was really interesting to me. Like you were acting on it, so like you would like after you got your makeup touched up or whatever, you would just sit there, and then I was setting up sound. So once I'd run all the sound and check things and check all the equipment and rig the lav mics, I would just sit there.
And we were just
and
talking.
just like, yeah, we would just hang out, and we would look around. You have the gaffers running around, the director of photography, but it's like everyone kind of stays in their lane in a good way. I mean, ultimately, I would help people carry things. I'm not going to just not do that. But ultimately, that's their job, and that's what they're learning. That's their school lesson. So that was interesting to learn. But overall, what you kind of realize when you're on a set, very simply, is like how little actors almost do, or how little the talent actually does. Like, it makes sense why these Hollywood people have trailers, because they go in and hang out in that trailer for 5 hours, come out, shoot for 2 hours, I don't know, and then they go back for the next 5 hours, come back for 2. They have their stand-in in there, getting making sure the lighting's hitting right and the blocking's good. But I don't know, it was very interesting.
But then,
they have to get into character for that split moment, because if you fuck up that moment when they're in the scene, you know what you're gonna get. You know what you're gonna get? Are you a fucking professional? You're walking through the shot while I'm trying to do a fucking scene. What the fuck are you doing, mate?
Oh, so apparently, like,
wait, is Christian Bale Australian?
No, he's not Australian. He's British.
Oh, British. Wait, I thought he was like Wellesley.
He's like
Welsh?
Daniel
Welsh?
Day-Lewis, where he's like he doesn't have a region that he
Strong
belongs
accent.
to.
Oh, that's probably why he's such a good actor, because he doesn't really he doesn't belong to anything.
He
Doesn't
doesn't
have a
He
home.
doesn't.
He's
He
just
doesn't
like a-
exist. He's just brought into the earth to act and have.
Are you a fucking because even during that rant, you can hear him go in and out of his accent. He's like, "Are you a fucking professional? Yeah, fucking dumbass, you damn fucking."
he got a lot of bad press around that, but I feel like anyone that knew at the time, that was completely warranted.
Oh, he was in a scene, dude. He was trying to get into character, and he's a method actor.
One of the gaffers or best boys or some.
It was the DP.
Yeah,
someone was looking at him. They were off camera looking at him.
I think
they were breaking the wall or something. Was what was my understanding, or maybe that was.
I think the gaffer was checking the light to make sure the lighting was right, but he did walk through his line of sight, which he shouldn't have done that. Granted, Christian Bale definitely overreacted, but
and it also, it's like, how many times did that happen before? How much trouble was he having with the scene? It's out of context, because
how much emotion did he have to build into that character for that moment?
Because like you said, John, it is like, the trailer, the talent sits in their trailer, or I sat at that desk for like hours while everybody's fixing the lights or like trying to figure out what the script is, and it's like, well, I have to know, like, I have to get my shit in the least amount of takes possible, so that then you guys can spend another 2 hours setting up the next shot, because it's gonna, I mean, not always, but it's like, the quicker we get done with my thing and it's good, the quicker we can move on to the next thing.
Speaking of that set, or it was a house. So one of the members of the crew, their family friend, had this beautiful house on the marsh.
It was a gorgeous house.
And so we filmed. It was supposed to be Patrick's character's bedroom, talking to his roommate, and so it's the son's bedroom of this family, and just casually on the desk, and I don't think it was done ironically, was a copy of Mein Kampf, and I was like, oh, okay, because I remember Patrick's like, oh, you're looking through a book, you're looking through the book, I remember, and I was like, oh, what's that? And you're like, Mein Kampf.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what? And you're like, oh, that's funny, good joke, and he showed me. I was like,
nope, this is it. This is here.
Okay.
I think that's one of my. That's just one of my favorite as like an actor with the lav mic on. Just being able to just as everybody's talking, be like, "Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing, John?" Like just whispering into my lav mic and knowing that you can hear me.
Yep.
You know,
Or going to the bathroom to take a fat dump.
Like,
Just
hey.
talking to the sound guy.
Hey,
Hey
dude,
man,
I'm gonna
I
take.
hope
a
you
fat
hear this
dump.
Chipotle coming out of me right now.
I mean, you can mute me if you want, but if it's what you want, you can listen. I don't care.
Wait, who the fuck had Mein Kampf on their desk? Was this an actual person's house?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't.
And
actually.
Mein Kampf was there?
Family friend of one of the crew members was like family friends with like a 50-year-old couple with a couple kids.
Beautiful
and their
house.
son.
Mm.
Yeah, beautiful house on the Mars. But their son, teenager, shooting in his room because it was a kind of just fit that kind of description of a boys' college dorm room, not college, but college apartment room. So we were filming in there, and it just kind of had that. It just looked like a good room with a twin size bed, blue walls, kind of cool modern desk, and like cool bookshelves. But on the desk, it wasn't part of the set deck. It wasn't the art. The beauty of that was just it was a lived-in room, so we could just jump in there. There was Mein Kampf on the desk.
Was in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hey,
Yeah.
if you're in a real person's house, maybe doing research. Listen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna gently step away from that.
Patrick was not reading Mein Kampf.
It was not my book. I will say this.
Oh yeah.
What was I gonna?
It was just there.
It was just there. I recently rewatched that, and I was like, oh, they took out my favorite part at the end where I like hack into her computer. Anyway, I was just disappointed that they took out that like Deus Ex Machina where I'm just suddenly able to hack, because I remember sitting in front of like the Matrix screen where it like was like black and I'm hacking into her computer. I was like, so I'm just hacking in, like, it's one of those things that like it was getting written and rewritten on the day where it's like, so I'm hacking into her computer to edit the story so that she sees it, or so that
I remember that being just not clear.
And then she's like, well, you're just hacking in. We just need to see you hacking in. I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, I'll do it. Like okay.
You gotta know where you're coming from. You
Yeah.
gotta know your motivation, what you're actually thinking.
What's my intention here?
Just hack.
Just hack. Just hack
No.
in. Okay. That's so like talking about going back and watching your old shorts. What's it like for you guys to go back and, because I know as we were prepping to do this episode, I went back and watched a couple of my old, and I sent a couple of my old shorts to you guys. But what is it like for you guys to go back and watch your old shorts now, cringy or otherwise?
Well, first of all, I want to say fuck you, Patrick, because your old shorts were really fucking good, so you can suck a dick.
Well,
mine,
yeah.
I don't even know.
We'll just
so
trade.
I remember the proudest film that I wrote and directed in college was, I can't even remember the name of it, and it's not online anywhere. I think I have it on a hard drive somewhere. But it was about these three. I was watching a lot of, again, going back to being derivative, I was watching a lot of It's Always Sunny at the time. And it's about these three douchebags who want to be famous on the internet. And they get drunk at a bar and they come up with ideas. The movie itself was, or the film, short, whatever, was terrible. But I think the concept was kind of okay. So they come up with these ideas And so while they're getting drunk at this bar, it cuts to their ideas, like these little dream sequences of their ideas, and of them getting internet famous, basically making viral videos of like a music video, something else that was popular at the time, whatever
Dead
type.
memes, basically.
What was it?
Dead memes, basically.
Oh yes, very dead memes. And then at the end of the video, they're so drunk, they get beat up by a bouncer and thrown out of a bar, and somebody records them getting beat up by the bouncer, and it goes...
Is it Out with the Bang?
Out with a Bang! That's it!
Wait, you found
Yeah,
it?
I found it. It's unlisted or it's private.
That's
your
why.
wife as the thumbnail.
Yes! Okay, we're not making it unlisted. We're keeping that private. But so they become internet famous because they got beat up by a bouncer and thrown out of a bar. And but they're still super proud of it because they're like, "Hey, we still kind of got famous." And that was my proudest, best thing I ever did in film school. Also, I got to tag this with, I had an idea to do my thesis a rap musical, and I came up with that before Hamilton. So fuck Hamilton. I came up with the idea of a rap musical before the guy who wrote Hamilton.
When was it before In the Heights? Because In the Heights was also out too. So I don't know.
Shit. When was that?
I don't know. When did In the Heights come out? In the Heights.
Look it up.
I'm gonna have to watch through. I'm gonna have to unlist it so Patrick can watch this.
Manuel, what's his name? Manuel?
Lin-Manuel Miranda, okay? Don't put his name in your mouth if you can't come correct.
I know.
So, In the Heights, first doing off-Broadway stuff in 2007, and it was in, like, trials in 2005. So...
he beat me.
Listen.
All right, I redact said statement. I did not come up with the idea of the rap musical.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Listen.
I apologize. I redact.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on blast, but I can't abide.
I know. No, I respect that.
art.
I respect that. And I do. I mean, I love Hamilton. I love Lin-Manuel, but I still came up with it on my own, dude.
I mean, yeah.
I guess in terms of something I was proud of from college, I mean, we did a documentary on a surfboard shaper, which was pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. Like, it was like a 3 to 5 minute little featurette. And then I was really proud of the sound on Paper Thin, the one I did with Patrick and met Patrick through. And that was the one and only time I ever ran sound.
But I kept asking you.
Yeah. So like after that, like I guess a little behind the scenes for this relationship here amongst us three and JT Music, kind of behind the scenes. But so after that project, though, that was the last I saw of Patrick. But he tried getting me to run sound on film.
Yeah, because that's the hardest.
Like,
That's the hardest fucking position to find.
Yeah.
So I was just like, hey, do you want to run sound on this short I'm trying to do? Hey, do you want to run sound? And you're like, no, thank you.
Well, I was just like, I'm doing this other thing, so I don't have time, sadly. But I knew Patrick, and because of stuff like that, I knew, like, because of him reaching out to me, I knew you were creating things. I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep this in the back of my mind when we get there, if we get there with JT Music, and eventually we did get to that kind of place where we could start to put money forward with towards productions, and also one of the things was hang out with Patrick on set. You know, Christian, my best friend growing up, I was like, this dude reminds me a lot of Christian, and I've met a lot of people in my life, and these are the only two that are like this. That's interesting. So I knew that there would be a lot of good synergy there.
Cut to me and Christian sucking each other's dicks in the corner.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I think my first question to you, John, was, does he like joking about dicks and butts?
I think, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I said
asked that.
something almost verbatim. Like, does he joke about dicks and butts? And you were like, yeah, I feel like he'd be down with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the kind of whole inception, I guess.
Yeah.
And you could connect that to the start of this wildly successful podcast.
Oh, so big. We've blown up so fast.
Yeah, I'd like to call it a conception.
I like
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Like a baby.
Well, I mean, we could probably have kept going for a while, so maybe, who knows, if you guys enjoyed this one or we see a lot of good feedback from this, we'll, episodes down the line, jump back into this conversation
Yeah.
of this kind of stuff, because it's fun to talk about. But in the interest of your time, we will wrap it up here.
Mhm.
And next week, what do we got for you?
We're gonna do Tokyo Godfathers, and then
Slash
kind of
Parasite.
slash Parasite. We're gonna talk about those sweet things.
You
And
were going to say something, Christian?
That I was gonna possibly say, do we want to quickly talk about any terrible productions we were on, like highlight, like lowlights?
Ooh.
I kind of already talked about
Yeah.
mine, but
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Sorry for the
Guess
tease.
what?
We're gonna sign
not
off
done yet.
in a second. Yeah, let's hear it, Christian.
I helped on set. I don't even know what I did. I think I just helped whatever they needed. This is in I almost said 10th grade. This was my my, what do you call it? Second year of college? What do you call that?
It's still sophomore.
Sophomore year? God. 10th
Just
grade,
not 10th
grade of college. I was on this film called Lizzie's Way, and it was a lesbian love story, and it was so bad that it became a laughingstock among all of Ithaca's alumni. And at the screening we had, it was for Cinema Production 2. At the Cinema Production 2 screening, everybody laughed their asses off at this film. And I was sitting behind the kid who directed it, and I felt really bad for him. And going back to what I was saying earlier about being derivative, this kid was trying to do something different, which I really respect to this day, but it was just so laughably bad. It was so bad. And I don't think it's on the internet anymore.
Yeah,
but
we got a copy for ourselves.
But we're
ripped
not
off.
going to post it anywhere, dude.
No,
No,
not
that
at
would
all.
be mean.
It's it's a classic, and I really admire it. Even if it's bad, I don't admire it because like it's giving me a fun punching bag. It's just like, I don't know. It's such a slice of time. I don't know why I like it. It's endearing to me as well as.
I agree with you
for some of the
100%.
lines.
Looking back in retrospect, like, I still remember that mainly because it was a laughing stock, but also because, again, he was trying something.
See,
he came up with his own story, and all of that other just stupid, unoriginal bullshit that all these obnoxious, pretentious kids came up with is just, all of that stuff was so forgettable. I guess my biggest takeaway from this
it's the only one that
podcast
people
is
remember.
don't be afraid to be cringy.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Because that's the main thing. It's like, I remember I watched that with you guys, and it's like, they were trying. They were doing something, you know? And it's like, it's always nice to see people put 100% effort in.
Absolutely.
Even if it turns into The Room, you know? Where
Yep.
Tommy Wiseau is doing 100%. He's doing 100%, but it is really bad.
But it's really bad. I think that's also part of getting older. Like, if you had asked me about that, like, even like 5 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, that movie sucked. It's so bad. But now I'm like, no, they were trying. They're doing their best. You know, I'm kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm not even 30 yet, but I'm so fucking wise. That's kind of like my role on this podcast. I'm just like the old wise guy, you know?
Just growing up, becoming more self-aware,
Yeah.
having experienced
Exactly.
more things, so that you become more sympathetic.
Yeah.
But
You guys got any horror stories?
What's your
To
horror
close it
story?
out?
I mean, I got one.
Get it to us.
It was like one of the production classes for the first bottleneck or the first gate to be accepted fully into the program, the film program. And there's 4 films, so you kind of quickly made films, and each of your 4 group you had that whole semester would direct one. And the big narrative one fell on this one kid. Good guy. I would say he was probably my best friend through my time in film school. But he is a very big anime fan. Like very, very deep in it. And so the story he wrote was super
Anime.
kind of like the worst kind of nonsensical way that like a Final Fantasy or like those stories are, like Kingdom Hearts, just how ridiculous those stories get
Yeah.
and convoluted and they don't make sense. So the story was just a mess, and the there was no direction, there was no anything. Like it was just the UPM, the unit production manager, is the CEO of the film, but in
Mhm.
terms of this film student thing, the director is the CEO. And I was trying to guide it, and to my discredit, I was trying to like kind of push like a cool setting on the beach because like I just liked going to that beach, which kind of hindered it. But a lot of the other things just didn't work out. Like we were shooting at a house. One of the art director or whatever the role she had a family friend, and it was like, great, okay, let's shoot at this house. And we show up to the house, and her friend, who's I guess it was her age, ran over and tackled her with a big hug, and that made her drop all the batteries for the cameras, and those broke, and those are like $400 a pop. So they worked, but they were cracked, so we'd have to replace them. So that was a pain in the ass. But
Wait, she actually tackled her with a hug?
it was just like a jump kind of hug thing.
Oh god.
Did she do a Naruto run?
No, it was
She hopped into her arms like a bride coming through the doorway.
Yeah, it's just a normal thing, I guess. Just
I'm
very
sorry, I'm just
enthusiastic.
picturing this whole story through an anime lens right now.
Yeah. Well,
no, the
there's-
batteries!
The last bit of it, I could go on this one, but the last bit of it was that particular set was there was a dinner party there. So like this family knew we were coming to film,
still had
and
a
they're very
dinner
gracious
party.
to let us come in there. That was awesome, but they clearly didn't understand, and we were there, and we're like, we're not going to ask them to leave and stop their dinner party. So we had to shoot it with no audio, and we had to film in a very weird corner of the house, and like the father of the family, the dad of the household, would just sit there with his beer can watching us.
Just
It was
watching
like-
you do your anime short film while they're having a dinner party.
Yeah. Also, the main character of the film was named Dante, by the way, in case you were wondering.
Like his
So
Inferno.
anime. So anime.
Was it a part?
That film didn't turn out well. Yeah. There's a lot more to that.
I
but
will wrap.
Those are the kind of quick, interesting
I will.
things about it.
I will wrap it up. And I'll try and do it as quickly as possible for everybody. By sort of juxtaposing two ones. Like one is the one that I've already mentioned, where like nobody did anything except for this one dude who's a hero and is a good friend of mine to this day, but he will remain nameless. But he knows who he is if he ever listens to this podcast. But he was doing so much, and so we go for one day for their like pickup shots, and I'm like doing my laundry, and I'm like, I know that today is the day that I'm gonna do pickup shots, and I was like, hey guys, just let me know whenever it is, trying my best to be like accommodating without being like, hey, tell me to do the thing now. And so they're like, they keep pushing the time back and back and back, and I'm like, I don't, I'm doing laundry, it's like my day off, blah blah blah, and so they finally get me out there, and they finally like, all right, here's the thing, meet us here, we're gonna eat food. And so I meet them at the restaurant, and they're like, yeah, we just broke for lunch. And I was like, I didn't need to come here to eat lunch with you guys. And this was me, like, again, being probably maybe a little bit of a diva, but it's like I sat with them for an hour and a half. They didn't even have the location picked out. And so I sat with them for an hour and a half, and they made me pay for my own food, which is like so stupid that I'm complaining about it. But it's like, if
You're not being a diva.
if
you are
you're
not.
bringing if you're bringing someone out, like, at least buy, like, I paid for my own stupid Dr. Pepper. It's like, it's so fucking annoying, and I feel like an asshole for complaining about it. But I was just like, I have laundry in the dryer that I could have folded and put away, maybe, and instead I am here listening to you guys talk about girls and socks and eating bad pizza and then paying for it myself when I didn't even want to eat pizza. And then I still haven't
But
seen.
that's all you get.
But that's all you get. And then
That's all you ever fucking get is pizza.
But then there's a flip side of that where it's like a friend of mine was doing a short film. He's an incredible artist. We work with a lot. I will also make him nameless. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't clear with him to talk about it. But so we were shooting a short film and we have to shoot it over weekends at a time. And it's during the summer and it's like we have to shoot at night. It's a horror film. And like the nights keep getting longer and longer. So it's like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then it turns into, it's 4 a.m. And then we're there till 7 a.m. We're shooting day for night. And I'm exhausted. And I'm playing a character that smokes cigarettes. And I like end up coughing. And it's like, but I love that production. And I loved the short. I loved the outcome of it because the guy who was making it, I believed in him every step of the way. It's like, even as he was like, kind of like, put me through my paces and and it's kind of a grueling process, but because he was there with me, because he was there giving it 110%, I did it for no money. I did it for nothing. I did it because I wanted to see this project through. And it's like, there's a balance of that where it's like, if you put 100% of yourself into something, everyone else will come along with you. Whereas if you just fart it out, it's like, it's not going to ever come to anything. Just don't fart it out, guys.
That's the lesson.
I agree.
Right there. I mean, that's kind of like the thing is give a damn and be nice. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. So I think that's where we'll call it today. Maybe we'll do a special episode where we can talk about my shorts that are on YouTube that I sent you guys.
Yeah, there's still a lot more to talk about.
We could go into so much analysis about those.
Yeah. We should, we'll definitely circle around, and then we have the productions we work on together. There's a lot of stories and stuff to talk about with that. So, I mean, we'll sprinkle these kind of things in for sure with talking about specific movies and stuff. I like it.
Yeah,
and,
it was fun.
I think people will enjoy these things. It's very conversational. But again, next week we're doing
Tokyo Godfathers. So 2003,
and
directed by oh boy, hold on.
You don't know it off the top of your head?
Satoshi Kon.
Yeah, Satoshi Kon.
Dude, that was pretty racist.
What?
Who? Get out of here, Christian.
Just the way you said it, dude. That was so racist.
Oh, they said it slightly wrong. I repeated it because I actually did know that, and that's why I repeated it. I wasn't trying to be shaming your pronunciation of Japanese names.
That's all right.
But yeah, catch you guys next week. Any last words, Christian? Did you ever find that sound team?
Nope. Sound team's still not here. Still waiting on them. Nobody needs sound. Fuck sound. Ah!
Hit us on Twitter at Stinky Podcast. Do I have that tag right?
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a Twitter at Stinky Podcast because everything else was taken or it's too long, and then we also have an email stinkypopcornboys@gmail.com. Hit those up if you want to hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up. Pitch us your movie. And as they say in Timbuktu, I'm in Timbuktu. Where's the sound team? That's what it should have been. Fuck.
Dude, I feel like you're channeling Watto again.
It just comes back to Watto.
Jedi mind tricks don't work on me. Only money.
Only popcorn.
Only popcorn. Yeah. Except I hate popcorn. It's disgusting.